This guy in the red robes with 12 robot tentacles coming out of his back is not a wizard. He is a doctor. He's also an engineer. And he is what happens when a whole civilization decides that being human is a bug, not a feature.
Your kind cling to your flesh, as if it will not decay and fail you.
I'm talking about the Adeptus Mechanicus tech priest from Warhammer 40K.
One day the crude biomass that you call a temple will wither.
Now, here is the real question for today. If I gave you the chance right now to swap your squishy human parts for machine to become something closer to this, then this, would you do it?
And you will beg my kind to save you, but I am already saved.
By the end of this video, you're gonna have an answer to that question for yourself. Because a surprising amount of tech priest biology is not science fiction anymore. Some of it is happening in real clinical trials right now.
For the machine is immortal.
Hey interns, I'm Dr. Chris Raynor, orthopedic surgeon, sports medicine doc, part-time nerd, and full-time hater of weak joints. On this channel, we have talked about all kinds of bodies, broken athletes, people with wild injuries, and even some sci-fi anatomy like what it would take to build super soldiers and walking tanks. Today, we're going full Warhammer 40K. But as always, we're gonna treat it like a medical case study. In particular, we're gonna look at who the Adeptus Mechanicus are, how they survived the Age of Strife by basically turning engineering into a religion, what makes a tech priest body different from a space marine, the core augmentations every tech priest has, the real 2025 technology that actually gets us part of the way there, the steps to bridge that last gap into full post-human cyborg land, and then the big one, should we actually do it? We're going to build up the science and the hype and then slam into the ethics right at the end. So stick around if you want to hear a surgeon ask and answer whether your humanity is worth keeping. If you are a returning viewer, do me a solid and give the video a like
For the Emperor.
If you are new to the channel, welcome. Watch the video first, and if so inclined, join our army of intelligent interns learning about healthcare at the end. And don't forget to subscribe and notifications so that you can be alerted when I post content related to health and science. Let's get to 1 million together and have everyone arrive there a smarter person. But knowledge is power. Guard it well. So, who are the Adeptus Mechanicus? Quick lore refresher so the non-Warhammer people do not get lost. The Adeptus Mechanicus are the tech cult of the Imperium of Man.
They are the guardians of machine spirits and the preservers of the traditions of technology. They are the ones that keep everything within the Imperium functioning through their mysterious and esoteric rituals, such as the rite of ignition, maintenance, and awakening.
They live mostly on Mars and on these factory planets called Forge Worlds. There, they have a few simple jobs. They build the guns, build the tanks, build the warships, and keep everything from air recyclers to titans running. They are not just engineers, they are a religious order. Their god is the machine god, also called in universe. A lot of them believe the Emperor is basically the physical avatar of this machine god, which is how they ended up allied with the Imperium instead of just doing their own weird Martian thing. Their motto is basically, the flesh is weak.
Most tech priests view their organic bodies as disgusting, a form more suitable for a beast than a being capable of reason and logic.
So, if your body is made of meat, their long-term plan is to gradually replace that meat with metal, circuits, and sacred firmware updates. Already, we have a big medical theme here. They are not treating injury.
From the moment I understood the weakness of my flesh,
They are treating biology itself as a disease
it disgusted me.
that needs to be cured.
A tech priest's personality will begin to change the more augmentations they take on, becoming more like that of a cold, logic-driven machine, completely free of the weakness of emotion.
Let's zoom back in time in the lore. The Dark Age of Technology and the Age of Strife.
It sucks in the Age of Strife. It earns that name so aggressively.
It's very strifish.
Yes.
Strifey.
Keep in mind that this is many, many years into the future, but long before the tech priests of the Imperium that we are talking about today. Humanity hits a crazy technological peak. Then, warp storms, civil wars, galaxy-wide chaos. Most human worlds fall back into medieval levels of tech or even worse. Mars, however, is different. On Mars, the early tech priests survive by hoarding, preserving, and worshiping ancient technology. They turn engineering manuals into sacred texts, turn maintenance routines into religious rituals, and they stop innovating and instead obsess over preserving what already exists. If you have ever seen me rant about surgeons doing something because that's just how we've always done it, well, this is that dialed up to 11. From a medical history lens, this is like if during the fall of Rome, some monastic order decided to keep every medical text, every surgical instrument, and every MRI scanner functioning for thousands of years. But they were not allowed to change anything because the original design was holy. And yes, I realize that that is not a historically accurate analogy, but I think you get what I'm saying. In the age of strife, that conservatism is what actually saves them. By the time the Emperor shows up, Mars still has starships, weapons, industrial bases, and an entire techno-religion built around keeping all of that technology running. So the Adeptus Mechanicus become the Imperium's biomedical engineering department, weapons lab, and IT support all rolled into one. Now, the fun comparison everybody wants. Yes, tech priests are augmented, but not in the same way that Space Marines are. Space Marines are genetically engineered super soldiers. Their augmentations are standardized, organ-based, designed for battlefield performance. Space Marines get extra organs, reinforced bones, a second heart, lungs that can handle toxins, and the black carapace so they can plug into power armor. It is basically a biological upgrade with some hardware on top. Tech priests flip all of that on its head. They start as regular humans and slowly replace limbs with bionics, replace eyes with sensors, add mechadendrites, those robotic tentacles, add neural ports and data jacks, and bolt on exoskeletal hardware.
Whether they be bionic limbs and organs to make them stronger, faster, and all but immune to the weakness of age and disease, bionic eyes that allow them to see far beyond the normal spectrum of human vision, autosanguination, wherein all of their blood is replaced with a synthetic chemical substitute. Multiple different circuits and chips are implanted into the brain's gray matter to dramatically improve memory and equip the priest with a wide range of computing capabilities.
Where a Space Marine is a super soldier in a suit, a tech priest is a walking interface for machinery, bro. From a medical point of view, Space Marines are gene therapy, organ transplants, and endocrine manipulation on crack. Tech priests, on the other hand, are radical cybernetic transplantation, full body prosthetics, and human computer fusion. Both are post-human, but they are using completely different toolkits. Let us list the standard package tech priest mods that show up over and over again. Number 1, mechadendrites. These are mechanical tentacles fixed to the shoulders or the back. They work as extra arms for repair, surgery, weapon mounts, data tools, and rank and specialization often show in the type and the number, with more advanced and numerous augmentations signifying greater seniority, knowledge, and prestige.
Some particularly ancient magi at this point are little more than a brain floating in amniotic fluid within the confines of a twisting fusion of cables, armor plating, inbuilt weaponry, and flailing mechadendrites.
Number 2, general cybernetic implants. This includes bionic arms and legs, mechanical heart, artificial lungs, synthetic circuitry systems. Over time, very little original flesh remains. Number 3, machinator arrays or the cyber mantle. Here we're talking about heavy exoskeleton type frame, which is fused to the torso and to the spine. It holds tools, weapons, power units, it reinforces bones and armor, and is basically a built-in industrial exosuit. Number 4, interface implants. These are more or less data jacks in the skull. These are neural links so they can plug straight into starships, cogitators, or computers, weapon systems. They see a digital overlay of reality called the noosphere. Number 5, enhanced sensory arrays. We're talking bionic eyes with zoom, spectrum shifts, and targeting. Also, audio implants. And we're talking extra sensory clusters, which include radiation, thermal, and Auspex style scanners. Number 6, self-repair systems. This includes auto maintenance technologies and internal repair servos. Also, sacred self-fixing mechanisms that keep their machine parts running in harsh environments. Add that all up and you have a body where the human is almost an optional accessory. Donovan Bailey's Great Canadian Sauce Company, Jamaica isn't just a place, it's part of who we are. And right now, our neighbors need us. In the wake of Hurricane Melissa, families across Jamaica are facing hardship. So from now until December 31st, 2025, we're donating 100% of our profits to Food for the Poor, Jamaica's Hurricane Relief Fund. Shop today at thegreatcanadiansauceco.com or donate directly at foodforthepoorja.org. Now, the big question for us in 2025, how much of this could I actually build into a human patient today? We're going to go augmentation by augmentation and match it up with current science. First, the mechadendrites, those extra robotic arms. We do not yet have shoulder-mounted robo-tentacles for everyday use, but we are closer than you think. We actually have highly dexterous robotic arms in surgery and in labs.
We also have 4 arms. This allows me to switch between the arms, again, without ever having to leave the console, so it makes it more efficient.
We also have soft robotic tentacles that can wrap around objects.
What if robots could move like an octopus, grip like an elephant trunk, and adapt like nature itself?
And finally, we have wearable exoskeleton arms in development for both industry and rehab. Soft robotics and neuromorphic control are moving toward limbs that can feel and adapt rather than just follow simple motor commands. Recent work on soft prosthetic hands with neuromorphic tactile sensing is a big step in that direction. You could absolutely mount smaller versions of these on a harness today. The real limitation right now is power supply, comfort, and long-term control systems that do not fry your own nervous system. Cybernetic limbs and organs. Right now in the real world, we already have myoelectric prosthetic arms that use your muscle signals to control complex hand movements. Newer versions are adding tactile feedback so users can feel grip force and texture.
They found that the more ways a bionic limb communicates with its user, the more users think and function like people who have their natural hands.
There are prototypes with fingertip tactile sensors and shared controlled algorithms that help you grasp objects more efficiently. For legs, we have powered exoskeletons like Rewalk and others cleared by the FDA to help people with spinal cord injuries stand and walk. On the organ side, we already implant pacemakers, LVADs, artificial valves, and even total artificial hearts in some cases. Devices like these blur the line between biology and machine, just not as dramatically as a tech priest torso. So a tech priest with 2 prosthetic legs, 1 bionic arm, and a cybernetic heart is not pure fantasy. It is just a much more extensive version of real 2025 medicine. This is where things get spicy, because we are not as far behind Warhammer as people think. Brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs, have restored communication and cursor control for people with paralysis, and they've allowed patients to type and control robotic arms using brain signals alone.
We're really building towards fundamental foundational technology that would allow us to have millions of channels with multiple implants for whole brain interfaces that could actually solve not just these debilitating neurological conditions, but be able to go beyond the limits of our biology.
Companies like Neuralink have FDA approval for human trials in the United States and Canada. And as of 2025, there are at least a dozen people worldwide with implanted chips that let them control digital devices by thought, accumulating thousands of hours of use. That is basically a simplified early version of a tech priest data jack, bro. We cannot yet plug your brain directly into a starship, but a brain port that talks to computers in real time is already inside real human skulls right now.
You could be out and about in the world with a fully functioning brain implant and no one would even notice.
From a surgeon's perspective, this is the single biggest step towards tech priest style post-humanity. Next, enhanced sensory arrays. We already have an ability to restore hearing with cochlear implants, restore partial vision with some early bionic eye technologies, let's move on to self-repair systems. This one sounds the most sci-fi, but material science is catching up. Current self-healing materials that includes polymers, composites, and even some metals can autonomously repair micro cracks and restore function, and are being actively developed for biomedical applications and coatings. We are not at the level where your arm grows a new gear overnight, but a prosthetic coated in self-healing polymer that closes micro damage and prevents wear, that is realistic research, not fantasy. So I know you're asking, what would it take to go full tech priest? So we have bits and pieces already. BCIs, powered exoskeletons, bionic limbs, sensory implants, and self-healing materials. So what are the steps to turn this into something that looks like the Adeptus Mechanicus? Step 1, high bandwidth, stable neural interfaces. We need BCIs that are bidirectional. They send and receive data. They also last for decades without causing brain damage, and they need to have high bandwidth, low latency connections. Recent reviews emphasize that we are still working on long-term safety, immune response, and stability of our implants. Think of it like upgrading from dial-up internet in your brain to fiber optic. Step number 2, fully integrated body-wide cybernetics. Instead of one prosthetic arm, one exoskeleton, one chip, we would need a unified power system, integrated nervous system interfaces, and standardized communication protocols across all devices. This is an engineering problem, but also a medical one. Where do you anchor the hardware? How do you distribute loads so bones and joints do not shatter or get destroyed? And how do you keep all these implants infection-free long term? Step 3, biohybrid integration. The future likely is not all metal. It is a hybrid. Synthetic materials with living cells, vascularized biohybrid tissues that can repair themselves, and neural regeneration linking brain to machine more smoothly. We are already doing neural regeneration research and adaptive stimulation like deep brain stimulation. BCIs are moving from simple readout devices toward closed loop systems that both read and stimulate. A tech priest is essentially a walking closed loop system. Psychological and social adaptation. Finally, the squishiest problem. Are people actually okay with becoming 40% machine, 60%, 90%? That is not just consent on a surgical form. That is identity, religion, culture, law, and mental health. You are not just fixing a broken leg anymore. You are changing what it means for that person to exist in their own body. That is where the Adeptus Mechanicus is useful as a warning. Their answer is the flesh is weak. Remove it. We have to decide if we agree. All right. This is where I want your attention the most. If you have watched my other videos where we look at injuries and long-term rehab, you know my bias. I am all for using tech to restore function. I am not necessarily on board with throwing away your body just because you can. Let us break down the big ethical issues if we actually pursue tech priest level augmentation. Right now, exoskeletons help people walk after spinal cord injury, BCIs help people with paralysis communicate, and prosthetics restore lost limbs. These are clearly therapeutic. Most people agree they are good. But what happens when a healthy person wants an extra robotic arm to be more productive? An engineer wants permanent neural ports for faster work. Or an athlete wants bionic legs that never fatigue. We slide from I want to be whole again to I want to be post-human. At what point does medicine become a competitive arms race?
Okay, I see what you did there.
If tech priest style augmentation becomes possible, it will not be cheap. So ask yourself, who gets the good implants? Rich people, military units, corporate elites? We already see access gaps in basic healthcare. Imagine that multiplied by brain chips and full body exoskeletons. Once you have BCIs and networked implants, who controls the software? Who owns the data? Can your neural firmware be updated without your consent?
I give unto thy mechanisms the command to protect.
Recent ethics work on implantable neural prostheses is already worrying about data protection, pressure on patients, long-term monitoring of experimental devices. Now, scale that up to a tech priest whose entire body is a medical device. That is a nightmare regulatory problem. hacking, malware, coercion, corporate and state control. Also, there is a psychological cost to amputation and prosthetics, even when they restore function. If we normalize major elective amputations to get the upgrade, we risk people who feel trapped maintaining hardware and identity crises when your body requires constant software patches to function.
He cleared his throat with a cough. Though he had no need to cough, some habits just died hard.
From a surgeon's perspective, your body is incredibly impressive. You have bones that remodel to load, muscles that adapt to external forces, and joints that allow movement and that can last decades if you treat them right. Yes, injuries happen. Yes, we use metal plates, screws, and implants to hold it all together if something goes sideways. But the Adeptus Mechanicus theology of flesh is weak ignores one thing. The same biology that breaks is the biology that lets you feel, love, adapt, grow, and heal. You can replace a lot with metal and software. You cannot easily replace grief, joy, the feeling of running with your own legs, or holding someone's hand with your hand.
Keith actually felt his sister's palm for the first time since the accident.
Once you cut that away for performance, you might never get it back. So when we talk about becoming tech priests, we're not just talking about more cool toys or better tools. We are asking, how much of your humanity are you willing to trade for power and control? That is the tension at the heart of this whole discussion. So, where does that leave us? We are building the building blocks of the Adeptus Mechanicus, piece by piece. But the lore of the tech priest is not just cool aesthetics, it is a warning about technological stagnation, religious dogma, and what happens when you decide your body is a bug that you need to patch out of existence. So here's the question that I want you, the interns, to answer in the comments. If you could get one tech priest style augmentation today with zero cost and perfect safety, what would you pick? And where would you personally draw the line? Would you stop at a better arm, a neural link, a full machinator array? Or would you say, you know, the flesh is weak, but it is also kind of the point? Thanks for joining me in this analysis of the Adeptus Mechanicus and the technologies that might get us one step closer to post-humanism. Let's wrap it up with a roundtable analysis from you, the intern army. Comment Team Mechanicus if you are on board with becoming a tech priest. And be sure to join my intern army and click on your notifications to catch my uploads every Monday morning. Paid members get early access and ad-free versions of my uploads. And don't forget to follow my gym, Human 2.0 Fitness, for free right here on YouTube, where we post content that helps you move better and prevent injury. Or its sister channel, Human at Home, where we show you how to be healthy in the space where you live. Keep your joints moving, your brain protected, and your implants purely optional. As always, that's been a word from Dr. Chris Raynor, not your everyday ortho, where we see one, do one, teach one.